Comic Boom.
Hey guys, Comic Boom here to review Batman issue 91. I don't know about you guys, but I'm thinking that the great designer, aside from not having a very good wardrobe, I'm thinking he's playing a joke on all of us. In fact, I think that he's probably the Joker. Straight up. That seems to be what the clues reveal in this, right? I mean, isn't that... It's not just my theory, it's been speculated online as well in different sources. And it's looking more and more like that this is all just one big misdirection and that the designer, this great designer, is in fact the Joker. Now, why would I think that? Well, you know what? The Joker here does a really good monologue here. James Tynion IV, the writer here, he's doing a good job. I'm really enjoying this story. And Jorge Jimenez at art and Albuquerque and Pagulayan and Mickey and Maury, great creative team. I'm really enjoying James Tynion IV's run. I'm enjoying it. Now, where are we going with this exactly with this designer? Well, we know, and this is where sometimes solicits can ruin things a little bit. We know that we got the Joker War coming up. And so we know that this is leading into Joker War, right? So we already know that whatever flows out of this, the Joker is not going to be caught. It's going to lead into Joker War. And it makes sense that the designer would be the Joker, because the Joker opens up this story in Batman 91 by telling a story. And the story he tells is the same story that we read in Batman issue 90, which was the origin of the designer, namely that the Joker, Catwoman, Penguin, Riddler all met with the designer, and the designer said, "Look, tell me what your greatest wish is, and I will design for you, because I'm the designer. I will design for you the best way to accomplish what you need to accomplish, such that you'll be 12 steps ahead, or an infinite number of steps ahead of your number one enemy, Batman." And that's exactly what the designer did. But when he got to the Joker told him, if you believe the Joker's story, which it's reasonable to believe, the Joker told him that he wants to be the devil. And the designer freaked out, attacked Catwoman, Penguin, Riddler, and ended up getting killed, surprise, surprise, by the Joker himself. Now, it would make sense that was a game maybe that the Joker played all the way back then and is still playing that game now. How is it's going to play out exactly? The designer, I mean, if this is Joker's master plan, it's really well put together. James Tynion is, I suspect, writing a Joker. If we're leading in a Joker War, if the designer was nothing but a misdirection, a character literally created by the Joker and planted many, many years ago, and all this is coming into play, and this is a plan of the Joker's that is literally, years, 5 years, 10 years in the making. That's pretty cool. Now, we already saw this arc start off with what we now know was one of Penguin's master plans, that Penguin had the master plan of sort of assembling all the master assassins to Gotham City to take out Batman, and he'd become mayor. Well, part of that plan's already taken place, and that we got Deathstroke, Cheshire, Merlin, and the Tooth guy. What's the guy's name? I forget. Whatever. Then there was that other goofball with the gun. Anyway, unimportant. That's been playing out. Meanwhile, we got Catwoman. Catwoman's big dream was to pull off the biggest heist and rob Bruce Wayne blind, and Catwoman ends up teaming up with Harley Quinn, and they're basically now dealing with a Jokerized Gotham City police. And so while they're dealing with that, Batman's dealing with Deathstroke, and the designer is it looks like the designer, who now is apparently still alive, right? Because the designer's still alive and he's back and he's exacting his revenge by taking these grand designs and playing them all out at once. And he's trying to take out Batman and Catwoman and Harley Quinn, and Batman's trying to figure it all out. So we got a lot of moving parts here, and it's fun. It's a fun read. I think James Tynion the fourth here, he's doing a good job. Now, one of the criticisms I would have is he does tend to focus sometimes on the strangest parts. Like, I don't know if I would need some of the conversations again between Harley Quinn and Catwoman. He tends to, there's even a fight scene here between Deathstroke and Batman, where Batman tries to convince Deathstroke to sort of stop attacking him and help me help. You know me. This isn't, I know money's the most important thing to you, but you know that this is about helping the people of Gotham City. You know you're being played here. And of course, the Deathstroke, it's all money. It's interesting that it plays out that way, and we watched that fight scene. I would have been much more interested in seeing the fight scene between Deathstroke and Batman that took place back in issue 89 or 88. That would have been a cool scene. All we saw was the ending of that with Batman all beat up, but he had defeated Deathstroke. I would have liked to have seen that one, as opposed to this one, which wasn't really much of a fight scene. It was more a dialogue scene. But in any event, it turns out that the designer betrays Deathstroke by saying, basically implying to the Deathstroke that he's not going to get paid. So Deathstroke and Batman are on the same side. So now we have Catwoman and Harley Quinn on the same side, Batman and Deathstroke on the same side, battling the designer. And Catwoman's figures out a way she thinks will be able to defeat the designer, and that is by robbing Bruce Wayne herself. In other words, instead of waiting for the designer to implement her old plan to rob Bruce Wayne, that she will rob Bruce Wayne herself to sort of one-up the designer and to implement that plan ahead of time to throw a wrench into whatever the designer has planned. And that really is how this issue ends. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was actually pretty good. I'm looking forward to where it goes. In a sense, this sort of reminds me a little bit of The Offer. It reminds me of what the Year of the Villain could have been. You know, when Lex Luthor was going around Year of the Villain, he was making offers to all the villains. Well, to me, the designer is like Lex Luthor. In other words, when Lex Luthor was making offers to all the villains to saying, look, I'll give you this. I'm using my resources to make you better than you actually are and help you carry out your design or help you carry out your plans. I'm going to give you this power boost. Well, the designer, in many ways, he's sort of a quasi-Lex that way. In that he's making an offer. The designer essentially made an offer to the Penguin, to the Joker, to Catwoman, to the Riddler, saying, look, tell me what your grand plan is, and I will give you a design to make it happen. And in a sense, it's a lot like an offer. And, I'll offer you my designs and my genius if you give me something back in return. And in any event, I find that interesting. And so I want to give a compliment to James Tynion IV, because to me, this is what Year of the Villain ought to have been. The designer, I think, is a more interesting villain or concept for a villain, or someone who could make an offer to villains. Imagine if it was the designer that made the offer to all the villains instead of Lex Luthor. That would have been a lot more interesting, don't you think? That would have been a lot more interesting. Imagine the designer making an offer to all the villains. That would have been interesting, because he would have actually given them a plan, and maybe how all the plans can come together. But unfortunately, DC didn't do that. Now, in any event, though, I'm glad we're getting a story like this by James Tynion IV. I love the art here. I love it how it all comes together. I gotta say, I'm very impressed. I've seen previews of the issues coming up. I love the action sequences, the action here. I'm enjoying the sequence of events. I like the interaction between Harley Quinn and Catwoman, and just the progression of the story. Now, I know we're on issue. He started with issue 86 was Tynion's run. We're at issue 91, so 86, 87, 88, 89, 90. So, all right, sorry, I had to count there. It's the pandemic. It's screwing with how I count. In any event, we're like 6 issues in, and it's fun. I'm enjoying this. And I'm looking forward to see where this goes. I, like a lot of people, suspect that the Joker is probably the designer. This ends with a suggestion that maybe the Riddler might be the designer, but I don't think that. It looks like, I think the Riddler's being played here. I think this is just all, but it ends with Slade Wilson and Batman. Batman, they're fighting in the street. Batman and Slade Wilson are fighting in the street, and Batman calls out the designer to come out and face me, and we see the designer there beside someone who is revealed to be the Riddler, and so the Riddler is working with the designer. Wouldn't it make sense that the Riddler was working with the Joker? That makes sense too. So again, I'm thinking like many, I'm ascribing to the belief that the designer is nothing but maybe a construct of the Joker, and this is one massive misdirection by the Joker. Maybe the Joker got a little up, this is, I think what happened is that DC felt that the Batman Who Laughs was one-upping the Joker too much, and so maybe this story is a way of elevating the Joker above the Batman Who Laughs, because the Batman Who Laughs is now this epic multiversal villain that is super super smart and smarter than everybody, even smarter than Perpetua, and even knows how to capture the Phantom Stranger, a member of the Quintessence, in order to figure out how the Justice League escaped, and is now allying himself with Perpetua, the multiversal powerful being. Well, per Joker, what does the Joker have? He's got laughing gas. So James Tynion IV might be elevating the Joker into a higher status here. That's why maybe the Joker is the designer, and this is moving right into Joker War. So, so at least I'm enjoying this story, and I'm hoping Joker War is going to be interesting, because I think it's quite clear where this is headed. But I might be wrong, guys. What do you think? Do you think the designer is the Joker? Is it all misdirection? Is it something else? If not, who do you think the designer really is? Or do you think he's just a brand new character, genuinely unique? But who's under the mask? Interesting questions. Let me know what you think in the comments below. In the meantime, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter at Metropolis40. And until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay isolated, read comics, and I'm Comic Boom out.